Is it better now?
Yes, it is.
Great.
Oh, maybe if I turn on my camera, so like that. Oh, there's still a sound. There's noise.
I think that the sound doesn't come from my side because I'm sitting in a room alone without any fan.
Oh. Mhm. Can you listen to the recording later? Later, not now. So after class, maybe you can fix it, right? Okay. So, but it's all right. I can still hear you. Only that it's a bit noisy. Like there's a noise that interferes our conversation. Okay. So yes. All right, but it's fine. Okay. So you mean that the pandemic had um, a bigger, like it brought you a big change in terms of your routine. Okay, so the things that you did before the pandemic was being done during pandemic. Okay, did you have any regret? Did you have any regret because of pandemic, or would you like to, change if possible, like bring it back to normal?
To be totally upfront, when we learn online, sometimes the class start sooner when we study in real school. So quite often I slept during the class and didn't study the lessons that the teacher gives. And as a result, when the test came, I cannot do it well as I expect
You're
because
overwhelmed.
yes, I didn't study real hard for that subject. But not all. I just slept in the the some easy subjects such as
Ah,
biology or physics because this subject is not important in my grade.
mhm. Okay, but the rest, you're alive and I mean, you're alert. Okay, during your classes. All right. Well, I have noticed that you have a nice hair. Like, is it natural? I mean, Vanny, your hair is natural. Natural.
Yeah, yes.
Wow. Okay. Oh, you mean
And
you haven't touched it? Like you didn't don your hair? You didn't have some
it's
color?
natural. I got it from my dad because my dad has curly hair too.
Mm.
And everyone who meets me at the first time, they always ask me about my hair because it looks kind of special.
Mm-hmm. Are they envious of your hair? It looks enviable for me, having that kind of thick hair. Because my hair is not very thick. All right. Okay. But I have straight hair, natural. You know what? The first impression I have for you is that you're a very sociable person. Are you?
I'm what?
Sociable. You're a sociable person, aren't you?
Yes.
Sociable person.
I'm an outgoing person, and for me, the more the merrier.
Oh
You know,
yeah. Yes, I know.
hanging out with lots of people.
Okay. All right. You're not secluded. I mean, you don't sit around the corner and look. You're not an introvert person. There are people who are both. Sometimes like bipolar. I mean, they have two attitudes. Sometimes
Yeah.
introvert, sometimes very extrovert. Okay, so well, we had talked so much. It's actually a free talk. For now, let's continue. And by the way, we will focus on speaking part two and part three. Okay? Because for part one, I guess you're an expert on that matter. Yes. Have you practiced very much since your test is all right? Is around the corner, so you've got a lot of time maybe. Okay. So by the way, let's just yes.
Do you have any strategies in
Ah,
your teaching? Any
my
in the
method.
yeah?
Yes. Well, it's like we will do memorization, more on memorization, and
Yes.
we will also have vocabulary. For now, I will just I will just try whether you can answer some questions. Okay, next time, it's like sometimes it's trial and error. Okay, so if it's not really effective right now, then I might change this one next meeting. Okay? All right, so the flow of our lesson will be like free talk, part two and part three, and then we can have vocabulary at the end, or it might be before our practice, right?
Yes, I would to expand the specific vocabulary, like the topic vocabulary related, because I think that I don't have enough vocab about the topics that it's not quite related, such as the economic, the environment, or quite something like that.
Oh, really? So you want to expand about the vocabs in terms of okay. Well, you can also have a lot of vocabulary in other areas. Okay.
Yeah.
So
And
for
also about
yes,
my grammar, I heard that uh, you said that I have some mistakes.
some bit lapses, yes, in terms of
Yeah,
grammar. Okay, like for example, if you're talking about the past activity, so sometimes you use the present simple form or form of verb. Okay, like earlier you said it kind of affect your learning, let's say habit. All right, it kind of affected. Okay, affected. It affected your learning. Yes, your habits. Okay, so
maybe
let
I
me. Mhm.
talk slower so that I can process my mind while I'm talking because it's kind of flow fast when I talk, so I don't really think
You don't
carefully.
notice. All right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's unnoticeable, but some of the examiners are actually very keen on grammar. Me, I'm not really that keen on grammar, but I have noticed only, you can hear it, right? So if it's
yeah,
not parallel, therefore, there might be, a minus point for that. Okay. So, but you can also use phrases and expressions for vocabulary, like vocabulary, working. All right. So since you're just a student, chances are they might ask you some questions related to work. Okay. So I will first review. Um, all right. How long does the full speaking test last? Then.
uh, as I have seen on the website, they said that it lasts for about 15 minutes or maybe 11 to 15 minutes.
Oh, it's actually 11 to 14 minutes. That's the actual full, speaking test. Okay. The duration. All right.
Yeah,
So if it's more than that, then maybe it's because you have extra, let's say, talk about feedbacks, but it's usually 11 to 14 minutes.
yeah.
Okay. Now, which part of the test is a two-way discussion? Two-way discussion. Like the examiner will, discuss with you about abstract ideas or issues.
Part three.
Yes, it's in the part three. Both of you are discussing something. Okay. How about the assessment? The assessment criteria for fluency and coherence. So it relates to, is it about the range of vocabulary, grammatical structures, or is it about the flow of your speech and how you connect your ideas? Fluency and coherence.
How I connect my ideas.
Oh, yeah. So connect your ideas, meaning you use some connectives. Okay. And how you use idiomatic expressions, and that's part, okay? Well, which part of the test is known as the long turn? Long turn. Long turn.
Long term part thing is long term mean it takes long to think or
Speak.
so part two.
Yes, exactly. Because you're given 2 minutes to speak. Before
Yeah,
that, you will be given 1 minute to prepare. Like you will brainstorm your ideas, and then after that, the examiner will let you speak for 2 minutes. It's either they will stop you, by the end of your speech, or if you have reached already the 2 minute time required. Okay, all right. But if you can speak more than 2 minutes, that's fine. But don't forget that you should not speak less than 2 minutes because that's a minus points too. Remember, it's long turn. Okay, now another one. Which parts of the test are linked by topic or theme? It is linked by topic or theme. Which parts or part maybe? Like they
Can you
have
ask?
topics, topics. Oh, you
Can you
have,
repeat,
yes.
please?
Which parts of the test are linked by topic or theme? There's a theme.
Links by the part one,
Okay, so there are, yes, topics in part one and
part three.
we have part two, right? So there's a certain topic in part two that you need to discuss because the part three, that's the questions there are in relation to your speaking part two. Okay, like the questions being asked or thrown to you in
Uh,
part three are related to part two.
yes. Some
Yeah.
of my teachers say that sometimes the part three is not related to part two.
Yes, but it's in there are some, yes, there are some that connects your ideas, that they connect the questions to part two. There's not really like a very strong connection, but some of the questions might be in relation to part two. Okay, so topical, all right, ideas. Now, in the assessment criteria, most of the examiners would always score you based on how you perform, like how natural do you sound when you speak, that's in pronunciation, how excellent, yes, you are, and how excellent or appropriate your vocabulary are, that's for lexical resource. We have four categories. And then how organized and clear is your speech, that's for fluency and also coherence. But the last one is when you are good in your grammar, if you're accurate in your grammar, so that's for grammatical range and accuracy. Okay, so and one of the most important thing that you need to focus again is the grammar part. Okay, so well, let's start. So let's begin in our speaking part two. I will give you a topic here, and you will be given 1 minute to prepare for that. Okay, let's see if you would be able to answer the questions to the best that you can, okay? With your utmost knowledge. All right, the topic is about an interesting animal you have seen. Okay, I will send it to the chat box rather. Okay, right. So again, 1 minute preparation time. I will tell you when to begin or when to stop. Okay. All right, ready?
Yes.
Okay. Can you see it? So your time to prepare starts now.
Yeah.
Okay, so you may begin speaking now, Vani.
Yes, this is an interesting question, and it makes me remember to a time when I first visited my uncle's house. It's about 2 years ago. When I came into my uncle's house, uh, it is the first time I have ever seen a poodle. It's a kind of a dog, and what I can say is I feel that this kind of dog is the cutest kind of dog among all of other kinds. And why I said that is because the dog has the curly fur that some people they joke to me that it looks like my hair. And yes, I did find it somewhat similar from that poodle fur to my hair. It's kind of funny. And what interesting about it is because I'm surprised by its loyalty when sometimes my uncle came home late or he had another twin, but that dog is still can recognize my uncle when his twin comes, and it kind of surprised me because that poodle is so smart, intelligent, just like a human, and also it had a good sense of humor that they can sometimes make human smile because of his cuteness. And also, a pet lover, but I love dog more than cat a lot because I think that the dog is stronger and they are also play and do activities more responsible than the cat because they are kind of uh, smarter and they understand what the human thinks and wants. That's why I feel really surprised and love about the poodle dog.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. That ends your part two. Well, let's continue to part three. Okay. Now, what kind of animals do people have in their homes?
To be honest, in my country, there are an endless list of adorable pets that people keep in their home. But mostly I have seen is cat because I think the cat is small and cute, so it's more affordable for people to feed the cat than feeding other animals such as dog. Maybe because the dog eats more than cat.
Okay. Well, another question. So, a lot of animals are getting extinct. Do you know the word extinct?
Yes.
So what do you think about this, and why is it happening?
Oh, so I have to say that in my country, there are some people in the remote area, especially the rural area of Vietnam. They have the tradition of eating dog and cat meat because they think that they are nutritious and good for the health. And as a result, people or the citizens around the rural areas keep uh, trapping the dog and then sell it to the restaurant to kill it and give people to eat it. And I think that we need to raise the responsibility of people, not only in Vietnam but also other countries, about the animals. They also have the right to live, and we shouldn't harm them in any way because they are also our friends.
Okay. Right. Like they also need to be aware, okay, of the possible results. Okay. Right. So another one. Earlier, people used animals for their work. So now, what do people use to do their work? Yeah, like in the past, people, use animals
Yes.
to do their work. How about now? What do people use to do their work at present?
Uh, Nowadays, as I have seen on television or other media sources, I see that people are using a lot of robots and machines
Robots.
that work automatically on the farm. And I think that it's a lot of more convenient for the farmer because all the robots are working automatically, with just a touch from a screen or something like that. But and they also work more effectively than animals because robots nowadays are real smart. They are maybe smarter than humans who made it, and they can do the work effectively and give the farmers a lot of benefits, profits. And I think that using the machine, the modern machine, as a new way instead of using animals is a good way to protect the animal from being harming their energy too much.
From harming their energy. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, researchers are being conducted, or researches are being conducted on animals. Is this a good idea, Fanny?
Uh,
Researches
can you paraphrase the question,
on
please? I
okay.
don't
So there are more studies being done regarding animals nowadays. So is that a good idea?
I saw that nowadays many cosmetic brands are having testing on animals, or some of the fashion brands such as uh, Burberry. They also had the neck skin as a material on their clutch, and I think that it's not a good way that we should treat the animals because, as I have said earlier, they are also our friends. So, doing testify on them maybe can lead to death or the harm in the future, and also taking off their skin is not also a good way. But uh, I can't understand why people keep on being a big fan of the crocodile skin clutch.
Mm.
Yes,
Have you
it's
eaten? Have you tried that?
no,
Crocodile skin.
no, I
Okay.
haven't. So it's not a friendly way that we should treat animals.
Hmm. Although they are animals and they're meant to be eaten, but not all of them are really good to, as a source of income. Okay. Most people would like to hover about researches like they clone animals. Do you know cloning? Cloning,
Yes.
like the a copy genetic. They do some just like experiments on animals. Like they copy the genes, or sometimes they breed. Okay. Well, I don't know. Well, when and to what they are headed to. Like, what will be the outcome? That's like they hybrid the other animal, like birds to four-legged animals, just like that. Hmm.
Yes.
Have you seen on YouTube something like research? There are failures in relation to research about animals.
Yes. Yes.
Hmm. Is it very rampant in your country, like the researches, or do you know any, let's say, agency responsible for this kind of acts?
I would say that when it comes to the issue, I think that the government in my country will take responsible for it, but not any specific organization, because as we can see nowadays, the media communication is real effective, and they just need a reporter to report about the problem of a rural area that is harming animals, and then the next day the government will surely uh, they will deal with the problem and raise the citizens' awareness of
Mm,
how to treat animal rights.
yes, and they will be responsible for that since, in the first place, it's actually the government who approves something like researches. You cannot do something, you cannot start doing some research if you are not being permitted, okay,
Yeah,
by the government. Or even illegal logging is, you should always ask permission if you will cut a tree in the forest. Okay, so I have seen only a few lapses here. So just make sure if we are using the plural words. Okay, so we usually, for example, the subject is plural, then our verb must agree to it. Okay, like for example, the cats are cute. The cat is cute. Okay, so very simple. All right. And race the responsibility. Oh yes, very common. And you can also use the word awareness, race awareness, just like what you mentioned earlier. Okay, for that, will take responsible, Miss Vani. So you can say the government will be responsible about it, right? Instead of will take responsible, will take the responsibility. You can say they will take the responsibility. Mhm. Okay, nice. Now I'll give you, I think this is very familiar to you, the expression or the idiomatic expression about the weather. It is, it's raining cats and dogs. Are you familiar with that? Raining
Yeah.
cats and dogs. Yeah. So you can use that expression, but that is not literal, okay? hmm So again, idiomatic expressions are used to like add color to your speech. Okay, so well, nice answers. You were able to give an organized speech. You were able also to speak at length for part two of your speaking. Yes. Okay. Only you can also, yeah, it's like if you give your speech, so you give introduction, you did that, and you also give your conclusion, like you go back to the main topic. Okay, so that's why like you say about the poodle, that's why that animal or that dog is a very interesting pet. So like you summarize your sentence. Okay. So it's like you remind the examiner that you are talking about a poodle. It's about a dog, a kind of dog. Okay. All right. Now, next one. Are you ready for the other topic?
Yes.
Very well. Okay. So this time you're going to talk about. This is a kind of maybe in relation to studies. Okay, so you're going to describe a successful small business that you know about. Small business, like like maybe online business if you have any. All right. Are you familiar with e-commerce? E-commerce?
Some, but
About
not really, because
a
I
little bit.
do it.
Yes. Okay. So here, you are going to talk about a successful small business. Okay. So you describe a successful small business that you know about. Okay, hold on. Let me send you. This is the. I'll just take a picture, all right, because I cannot copy. Paste. All right, here. Can you see it? It's funny. There's a picture.
Oh,
Okay.
I cannot see the full screen.
Oh, you can
Like the
see it.
full screen.
Hold on. Okay, I guess you can do it now. Here. So, 1 minute preparation time. Okay. Yes. Great. Okay, your 1 minute preparation time begins now. Okay, Miss Venny, are you ready to speak now?
Yes, hey.
All right. So again, you may begin speaking.
Yes. So the question really reminds me about the time that I went to a workshop in Vietnam. That's the time that I arrived there with my dad to talk about the job opportunities in the future. And this business was invited as a guest to share with us about their story. So the brand name is Cocoon. It is a Vietnamese cosmetic brand, and as you can see nowadays, a lot of people are are big on organic products. That means the products that come from natural ingredients such as coffee beans, coconut, or avocado oil. And also, this brand has banned the animal test. They only testified it on based on the scientific research from earlier. Like yes, they had proved it safe because all the ingredients come from nature. So the consumer can really believe and try to use their skincare products. So, as when I first listened to the name, it reminds me of coconut. Cocoa is kind of related to coconut, right? And it's true that most of the products from this business is made of coconut, such as coconut oil or coconut face cream that really moisturize your skin during dry condition or atmosphere of Vietnam, and also the coconut oil that works back to nurture your hair from being damaged. So the success story here is because this brand has been
Okay.
understand
Mm-hmm. All right.
the Vietnamese want on the organic product. So they just keep on producing the products that came from nature and get a lot of respect from the consumer.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. It's actually over 2 minutes, but that is fine. Well, thank you. So, Vani, um, what qualities are required to become a company leader or a CEO or manager?
Yes, definitely. I would say that a leader of a business needs to have two main attributes. The first one is responsibility because as you have become a leader, you need to take care of all your co-workers and you need to track all of their work so that we all know that we are tracking to a same success. And also the second personality, I would say that they should be a friendly boss to the coworkers because as I have known, a boss doesn't need to be the one who is best, like has the best strategies, the best knowledge on a specific field, but they need to be the one who understands the coworker best. They can
Sympathy.
identify certain strengths of the coworkers that can contribute to the success of the company.
All
And
right.
that's the two personalities I think a good
Okay.
leader has.
All right. Can you review again? The sense of responsibility and
Friendly,
being friendly or being okay. It's like you can go down to the level of your fellows, or even though your position is higher, but you know when to, yeah, became low or became high. All right. So, in general, what factors do you think to determine whether a small company will become successful or not? Again, what factors do you think to determine whether a small, let's say, company will become successful or not?
yeah. from my perspective, I think that every company needs to understand their market because understand their consumers. They need to identify who will be the one who buy their product and which market will help them to consume their product. So they need to have a good strategies of uh, doing a lot of, the advertising, the marketing teams,
Advertise.
yes, that can advertise their product to the consumers that they think that will buy the product.
Okay.
And yes,
Continue. Do you have any other factors?
yes, and apart from understand the market, they can try to think about expand their image of the company to the consumer because nowadays, the media is kind of working really effective, and as a result, people can often reach the company through their social media, or if they have a good image through Facebook or some kind of uh, social media like that, it can reach to the consumers, and then they will know about the product.
Okay. So you base it on the adverts, so their
Yeah,
exposure to media. All right.
yeah.
Now, do you think the latest technology plays an important role in a company's development?
I would say that it will depend a lot on the product of that firm because as I have known, not every firm needs to have related technology in their field because sometimes, like when we work for a field such as in academic learning,
Mm-hmm.
it's not that important to have a robot so that they can check the students' attempt to the class because the teacher can still do it through a computer. So yes,
Okay.
I would say that it really depends.
All right. So, what do you think of charitable organizations? Charitable organizations.
Can you paraphrase that word?
Oh, like a foundation. It's a kind of organization wherein you donate money or any goods to support the poor or the less fortunate. What do you think
Uh,
of those organizations?
I would say that the firm is really uh, helpful and kind to the citizens, to the poor in our country, because I would say that they have a good financial background that they can have enough profit to charity it to the poor, and I would say that it's a great job because they have helped the community to become better.
Okay, thank you. Now, which do you think is better? To start your own business or to work for someone else?
To be honest, I would say that it depends a lot on the personality, such as I would say that for the introvert person who would love to be quiet and not communicating much with other people, they would love to do with the freelance work because
Freelance.
the freelance work because it doesn't require them to communicate much, but they can still do the best in their field just by their power, by their knowledge. But on the other hand, for the extrovert person, I would say that they would love to participate in a big organization to search for experiments and also to expand their relationship with the coworkers because the bigger the firm, the larger the network
Mhm.
and to an organization. Apart from the experiments, you can have a lot of other relationships with your coworker, which can help you a lot in the future.
Okay, so it's like those extrovert people would tend to gain more experience by working to another company. In your case, in your opinion, if you are to choose, would you like to start your own business or would you like to work for someone else?
To be
Oh,
honest,
it's a personal.
yes, to be honest, I would say that now I'm at a really young age and I don't really think much about the job in the future. But if I had a choice, I would choose to be a part of an organization because uh, being good in your specific field is not a difficult task. But when it comes to run a business, it requires a lot of more than that. It really it takes you. It means that you have to take responsibility for every of your work, and you need to manage your time throughout your work schedule. And sometimes it can be a heavy of workload. And so to be working in an organization means that I have a leader who can lead me and who can teach me to the new things and give me some precious experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I would really appreciate that. And so maybe after I have collected enough experience from my firm, maybe I can set up my own business. But that comes after when I have collected enough experience.
Yes. All right. There you go. Thank you very much for answering. That is actually apart from the speaking part three. So it's like I want to know. Maybe you wanted to apply for someday. Oh, by the way, I have another expression for you to practice. This one.
Yes.
It's you usually say to be honest. You may say to tell you the truth. To tell you the truth. So it is similar to the expression you've been using since then. Okay, this one. To tell you the truth or to tell you frankly, frankly rather, frankly or meaning seriously. Right, so you can use that to begin your sentence. Okay, it means you will give an honest, yeah, honest, let's say, opinion. Another one, we can also use the oh, this one. Without beating about the bush. It's an idiomatic expression too. Without beating about the bush. Have you heard about that? Like, don't what's this? Do not beat around the bush. Meaning saying um, you're not saying it indirectly, but straight to the point. So it's also similar. Okay, without beating about the bush or um, frank or direct. Okay. All right. So for your vocabulary, I will give you a link. Okay. So this link can provide you lots of phrases, collocation words, but we will still discuss about them. All right. Um, yes, this is. Wait a moment. Okay, the website is englishclub.com. All right. So you can go to www.englishclub.com and then you may search for vocabulary. This one, Miss Bunny. Can you see it? All right, you can visit that in your free time. Now, just one like a reminder when we are having your actual IELTS examination. Actually, the examiner will move on to a personal topic, but they don't really, explain questions if you ask. So, for example, he will simply repeat the question once, and if you do not understand, they will just move on to the next question. It's like
Yeah.
they will not paraphrase it for you. So yeah, you need to like use your this is what we call context clues, like the surrounding words that the examiner used. So you may use that as your clue. I mean, you can use them as your clue. Okay, all right. Or hint. Now you can also ask about the meaning of particular words. For example, the word earlier I asked you if you know the word extinct. So if you don't know any word, you can just ask that particular word. Okay, like what do you mean by extinct? Okay. All right. The examiner will also ask about maybe topics that you might not know because it's on the spot. So whether you're not prepared, yes, you really need to try your best. There is a student of mine. He don't really have any idea because he said I don't watch TV programs like like that, and he doesn't answer. But actually, if you can't answer, then they will just move on. Okay. Although expect a bad result like that. Okay. All right. So I noticed that you are so very fluent already. Oh, I'm so good. It's like you've been studying English since day one. Okay, are you good at English in your school? Are you the best or are you the top notch in terms of English?
No, to be honest, because in Vietnam we focus mostly on the grammar of
Mm-hmm.
English. So on every our annual test, they will test mostly about our grammar, but not the speaking or the real techniques that we need to communicate with the foreigners.
Yes.
So I would say that I'm not really good at grammar, so I don't usually have a high score in my school.
Okay. Well, I'll wait. I'll send you a picture, or let's say I'll just share my screen, Miss Penny. So here, this is the example of cue cards. Cue cards. Okay. Can you see my screen here? Now, which part of task 2 card is an accurate example of what you would begin or you would be given in the IELTS test? Is it letter A, B, or C?
Uh,
This is from our book, The Mindset for IELTS, Level 3. So is it letter A, letter B, or is it letter C?
A,
Yeah, so this is what it looks like, right? So we don't
yeah.
really have this. This one is a bit too informative already with the picture, with graphics. Okay. Uh, uh-huh. Okay, so there is a tip here. So we have tip number 4, but this is actually for speaking, okay? For speaking. All right, so the first one is never memorize. I think this is very self-explanatory. So never memorize complete answers to questions before the exam. And it is normally obvious to examiners if you are memorizing your answers, right? Like sometimes, yeah, I have a trick. If you want to be honest, and if it's like you want the person to know that you are sincere with your answers, in psychology there is, I just learned it from some from videos that I watched. So it's like if you're watching, so on from here from the left side to right, so it's like you are telling the truth. But if you are, yeah, like if you're thinking, you're answering the person, you're not looking eye to eye contact. So and then you watch, or let's say you are like thinking, but your eye is directed to the right side. So it's like that's it. It's a clue that the person is lying.
Yeah.
Yes, because if you're actually, if you are going to assess, people would always think about what did I do, like that you are tracing the sequence of what you did, right? Okay. Oh, again, Miss Venny, that's it. It's obvious for examiners if you memorize. Okay. And then,
Uh,
yes?
so I can say that
No,
I
no,
don't
you're not
have a
memorizing.
yes, I don't have a good memory to be honest.
You're
Uh,
always forgetful.
for instance, when I travel on the road, I can reach to the destination, but when it comes to returning to my home, I
Oh,
just forget all of the roads that I have I have
taken.
just
Like,
and yes, I forgot it all, and then I have to call some of my friends or open Google Maps for some help
Yeah.
because yes, it's really hard for me to memorize or remember specific things. So
Mhm.
as I cannot remember all of the
Landmarks, the
examples. I
okay.
just I can't remember.
All
So
right. Well, my trick, if I have the same situation, I just ask. The key is to ask people. So to tell you the way. Where's the way to, or going back to? And actually, people who are riding, like they commute. If you commute, you usually travel by public transport. You just ask the drivers. They know the route from, from where you are to, let's say, to the airport or to the bus station, like that. But you
yeah,
shouldn't be nervous, as long as you know how to read and write, and you have a common sense, your sixth sense, that's common sense. So you will not be, you will not lose your way. Like you will not be lost anywhere. Yes. Okay. All right. So, Miss Vani, that's it. Today, you were able to do a good job in your IELTS speaking test, part two and part three. This one show a variety of verb forms, and then grammar structures for the collocation and expression. Like to be honest, so you may use the suggested phrases that I gave you. Okay. To tell you the truth, to tell you. This is frankly, not rankly. Sorry for that. Frank. Okay. Meaning candid or frank. Okay. All right.
can
Any
I
more? Yes?
say without a doubt?
Sorry? Sorry?
Can I say without a doubt as an expression?
About the,
Without a doubt.
pardon me, I cannot really, it's a bit inaudible.
Without a doubt.
Without a gap.
Yes.
Oh,
Can I
you
give
mean,
an
oh, yes. Yeah. If it's similar, yes, it's okay to use as long as it gives the same impression, like you're telling the truth or you don't want to lie, you don't want to lie someone. Okay, that's it for today. So thank you very much. I'll see you on. Let me check my schedule. Okay, because I'm really
when
forgetful about my schedule. So it's Wednesday. It's actually 2 p.m. to 3
yes,
p.m. Okay, yeah,
yes,
Wednesday.
yes,
I'll just change it. Oh, it's correct. 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Okay.
yes.
All right. Thank you very much, Bunny. See you soon.
Thank you.
All right. All the
Goodbye.
best. Until next time.
Yeah.